Welcome back to the channel, guys. Snipe City Cards here. We've got a pretty special video today. We got our PSA submission back. We sent 3 cards express shipping to PSA from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and it took about a month to get it back with that express premium rate. Before we get into that, we'll quickly show you what it looks like to submit your cards on the PSA website. This is done on our phone here. It's pretty straightforward. You can start a new submission. It'll then ask you your item type. Most cards are going to be regular size cards. Then it'll ask you your submission type. You can get it graded. You can get it reviewed. Most cards will be grading. And then if you have an autograph card, you can choose to add that. Generally, you want to click that top box. If you don't have an auto card, that'll give you that number, the PSA 9, the PSA 10, the one that everyone's looking for when they're trying to resell these cards. Alrighty, so those are all your options there. Next page coming up here is actually picking your service level. Right now there's a big backlog, so standard service is taking upwards of probably about 7 months. So for our order, we did express service, $75 US a card. And like I said, we got it all turned around in about a month, so that wasn't half bad. Next up, we're going to do the actual card submission. They're pretty good with getting a lot of stuff in here, though it's not complete. So we're going to punch in our Alexis Lafreniere. This one comes pretty easily. The drop-down menu is going to give us basically all the options. French variants, jumbos, whatever the case be. We've got a standard card number 201 Young Guns of Lafreniere. From here, we also have the drop-down menu for minimum grade. What minimum grade is you telling PSA to only put your card in a slab if it receives a specific grade. And the reason for this is that some cards, especially newer cards like newer hockey cards, will not sell for more in a low grade. For example, a PSA 7 Alexis Lafreniere will sell for less, most likely, than a non-graded Alexis Lafreniere Young Guns, just raw card. So you can tell PSA, hey, don't put it in a slab if it's going to get a low grade, and they'll do that for you. Now, you still have to pay them the fee on their work because they're still doing everything in terms of authenticating the card and grading it, but you can decide, okay, this is sunken cost, I don't need this money anymore, but I'd rather have my card not in the slab because it's actually going to drop the value of it. Now, sometimes you're going to go punch your card in here and you're not going to actually see the info you want. This happened the first time we tried to do the submission form with our Raichu. We couldn't find what we wanted. Actually, looking now, this is what we want. Number 14 Raichu Holo First Edition. But sometimes it's not very clear. If we punch in our Raichu 14 of 102 here, we're going to get a bunch of stuff. And it's not going to be the card we want. We're going to get a lot of stuff that's going to be very confusing to us. Don't worry about this too much. Most cards will come up pretty easily with all the variants. You can usually find what you want. But if you don't see what your card is, just punch in a little bit of detail on it and they'll figure out the rest. So we're going to punch in 1999 Pokemon Raichu Holo, and that's more than enough for getting this card graded. Next up is qualifiers. So qualifiers is something that you'll see some people online have. Generally, I'm not a fan of it. Sometimes you'll see a grade, it'll say PSA 9, and then you'll see a bracket, something like OC, which means off center. What a qualifier is if you've got a card that has a lot of areas that are very, very good, for example, very sharp corners, very nice edges, but there is a major defect in the card, such as some major surface damage or the fact that it's cut extremely off center, you can get it so that your card is graded, but that defect is not included in the grade, so it doesn't bring the overall grade down. Now, it will show with a bracket that says OC or something like that, and generally they're not as valuable. Sometimes people will buy because they don't know any better, but generally as a rule, we don't like to do cards with any qualifiers. Just give us the grade because all things matter in the actual grade of a card. So hopefully that's not too much information too quickly. I know it might be a little bit of overload because we did go over it quite quickly. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. But from now, we're going to get into opening the box. One more thing before we get in there. When you send your cards to PSA, they must be in Ultra Pro card savers. PSA will not accept cards in top loaders or anything else for their submissions, so keep that in mind. And let's get to the box here. So we've got some paperwork. We've got an eBay card advertising with a free card saver. We've got some more paperwork here. And we've got our cards in the box with a lot of bubble wrap. All right. So we got 3 of them here. It's a Lafreniere and 2 Pokemon cards. Let's see what we've got here. So first is Lafreniere. We got a PSA 9. So not bad. We were hoping for a 10. This was straight from a pack. They're going for about $450 right now. Lafreniere's value has dropped a bit because he's struggling this season. But yeah, there's that. Next up is a PSA 1 Poor. So that's interesting. I don't know what the value is. 400 might be overshooting it. This is a first edition shadowless Raichu. PSA 10 of this goes for about 20 grand. This card definitely isn't in good condition. It's been sitting for 20 years and it did get a lot of use. You can see the top left corner's got some damage on it there. It's not really rounded super well. The bottom left corner peeling up a little bit. So I'm not surprised that it got a low grade. I was hoping for something better than a 1, but so be it. And next we've got Venusaur with a PSA 6. So not too bad. This Venusaur is not shadowless, not first edition. Looks like it's valued at about $250 in a PSA 6. Once again, I kind of pegged this at maybe getting a 7 or an 8. It looks like a pretty clean card, centered very well. There's not overly amounts of damage to it. There's obviously some surface scratches. They're pretty dull, but some soft surface scratches on it, just because we used to use these as kids. But there you go. There's the Raichu here. Like, pretty beat up on the Raichu, not surprising. Was hoping for something better than a PSA 1, but so be it. So there you go, guys. So for the Express, that's $75 a card US. You do have to pay for shipping and insurance both ways. So this probably came out to about a little over $100 a card Canadian each. Hope you guys learned something from the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. And once again, if you've got any questions, put them in the comments and we'll try and take care of them for you. Thanks for watching.